Hello, everyone, and welcome to Africa Fire Mission's weekly virtual training session. My name is Mike, and I'm the programs director here at Africa Fire Mission. We're so happy that you took time out of your busy schedules to join us for today's training. Uh, Before we get started with today's training, just a few little administrative notes. Um, if you stick around for at least 70% of today's training, you'll receive a certificate of attendance for the training. If you have some network issues or you maybe get called away or can't complete the live online class here, there are some other options for you to earn that certificate of attendance. If you head over to our webpage at www.africafiremission.org, there's a resources tab there. That resources tab is filled with all sorts of free information and resources for you guys, firefighters in Africa. Uh, if you go to the training materials, you'll find a link to our Google Drive with all the trainings that we've done so far this year. They're all recorded, they're uploaded onto YouTube. You can watch the video of the training, answer a couple questions on a Google form to demonstrate that you did watch that video and you learned something from it, and I can get you a certificate of attendance for that as well. The name that you're using on your Zoom screen right now is the name that's going to show up on that certificate of yours. So if you'd like to adjust that to read something different, please go ahead and do that now. If you're sharing your screen with some other people, that's a great way to save your bundles and still get a lot of people access to this training. If you're sharing that screen, I'll drop my email in the chat in a few minutes here. You can email me with a list of the names of people that are watching along with you, and I can get them a certificate of attendance as well. Before we dive into our training, I'm going to pass things over to Errol Sianga. Errol is Africa Fire Mission's fire safety advocate, and he's going to get us started with a few words of encouragement.
Uh, Thank you very much, Chief Mike. Good morning to you once again. Uh, Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning to all of us. Welcome to today's session class. In today's word of encouragement, all of us, we always have something to give thanks to. And as we work, as we teach, as we go on to our daily duties, we need to remember that everything that we do, we need to put our mind into it so that all of us, our energy and strength can be synchronized as we administer our services to the rest. So today, the Bible tells us from the book of Isaiah, chapter number 26, verse 3, New King James Version, you will keep in peace, in perfect peace, those whose minds are steadfast because they trust in you. As human beings, we usually have a tendency of being anxious in whatever circumstances you are in, either at work, in life, or in the way we relate with each other. But the Bible tells us we need to be in perfect peace so that we trust the Almighty in everything that we do, so that He helps us, He gives us the wisdom, knowledge, understanding, strength, confidence as we execute our mandate in the fire service, in the emergency medical services. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's remember to ask God to give us perfect peace in everything that we do, as we trust Him 100% in actions and in word. Thank you very much, and over to you back, Chief Mike.
Alrighty, thank you. I appreciate those words of encouragement and the work that you're doing to help make things better in the communities throughout Africa by helping us to improve emergency services. At this point in time, let me just invite you all to stick around at the top of the hour. We'll end the formal portion of our training and transition into tea time. Errol will be hosting that tea time. Tea time is a great place where you can ask questions about today's training. We can have a little bit more deeper discussion about today's topic or really anything else that may be on your mind. It's a great place to network with other firefighters from throughout Africa. I was just looking at some numbers and statistics the other day, and we're reaching over 20 different countries in Africa, 35 countries throughout the world on 6 different continents. So we're really making, there's just a wide variety of people here. So please stick around and check out that networking opportunity during our tea time at the top of the hour. Today's instructor, today we're going to be talking about communications, fire service communications, and today's instructor with us is Richard Gichina. Richard has been a volunteer fire safety advocate for Africa Fire Mission for a number of years. He's taught a number of our online training classes, participated in our internship program, has been doing some fire instruction throughout Kenya and a few other countries in Africa. Just an all around good guy. So I'm going to pass things over to Richard now to get us started with today's class.
Uh, Good morning, Chief. How are you?
Very good, Richard. Very good. Glad to have you here today.
Yeah, good to see you guys. This is Richard Lynn. I want to share the screen in a minute. So today we're going to talk about communication in the fire service. This is where we get, we'll look at some of the devices that we have in the fire service. We also look at things that we can leak from other departments so that we can make sure like our services and make sure like everything that we do is really working in hand. So Chief, can you see that?
Yep, just start your slideshow. We'll be all set.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so very much. So today
Looks
we're going
good.
to talk about, no, thank you so very much. Today we're going to talk about communication. And we know communication in the fire department starts right when the fire call or the dispatcher receives the information, and then they encode, they decode, and then get the real information. This is why they give us the what happened. This is where we ask the questions, the 4 Ws is what happened, when, where, and what are the, these are some of the questions that we always ask. So welcome everyone, this is Richard Gichina from Nyeri County Fire Department, working as a firefighter here, and also a volunteer instructor with AFM, and a fire safety advocate. So just an introduction of what we are saying. The functions of communication is to link the public to the fire department. It also helps to link firefighters when they are in the scene. And we can have a scene that has multiple agents. We can have that communications. We can also have fire department with other agencies like hospitals, ambulance agencies. We have referral places. We can have also other fire departments. So as a firefighter, we commonly know about how to use the radio, and mostly we use the portable radios, the station radio. We also use mobile phones. We can also use computers. We can communicate using the website. We have other different types of. We have these apps that are coming up that you can also install in your mobile phone, and they can act as press to talk radio. Together. So we also have the basic administration requires. These are the communication from the seniors to the juniors, or from the juniors to the seniors. So we also have a central point. We have fire stations that or fire department that already have the EOC, the emergency medical unit, or a unit that deals with all those, or what we call the dispatch in Kenya. We have the dispatch, we have the computer aided dispatch, the CAD, We have connections. This is where we get interconnection between departments and the other facilities. Examples of communication centers, we have standalone. This is, for example, one department, literally, like in Kenya. In Kenya, we have departments, each fire department has its own EOC or a dispatch. Then we have some other countries like the US. They have an integrated system that is, they only have one number that you call it, the 911, that goes direct. We have other countries that have the same. So we have co-located. This is where we can have it combines maybe 2 or 3 agencies. Like for example, in the Red Cross, or what you call the E+. We have like for example in Nyeri Fire Department, we work hand in hand with St. John's Ambulance, because we have the St. John's Ambulance in the fire service. So these are some of the things that we're going to talk about. This for you, as everyone passed through the schools on the institutions that teaches the firefighters. I know, sorry for that. We were introduced to some of these skills, to some of this knowledge on how to use the common equipment. How to conduct a communication effectively. This is when we say like our communication should be direct to the point, because you see these things and should be easy, should be simple, so that everyone in the system can be able to understand. These are some of the places that we use the phonetics. Just try to integrate what we have, and then so that at least the members of the public would not be able to understand everything, to be able to just grab everything that we talk about. So then the other thing is to understand the operation procedures. This is where we see like what we have, the portable radio. We say like it has the press to talk, it has the mic, it has the aerial, it has the volume node, and then the channel selector. So some of these, do you ever ask ourselves like why is the portable radio have to be regulated by a certain, what we call the communication authorities in for example in Kenya? We have the communication authorities in Kenya that controls that, so that it gives you the license to operate using that channel. So these channels must be protected. I know that Chief Mike can also be able to help us with that in case of the 911. It's a protected channel. Like not everyone who has a portable radio can be able to access that. Then we have another example is we have the portable radios that belongs to the firefighters, the portable radios that belongs to the police, or the security agencies. And you see, these are some of the things that we said it has to be protected, so that the secrets or what the information that is being relayed on, no one else can be able to tap on it. You remember in movies, we always watch movies, and these guys will always say that I'm calling from a protected line. I'm calling from this channel is not protected, because now you don't share this thing. And then this is where we have backups. Backups include another source of power. In case the main source or the power grid goes down, we have the solar system. We also have the generators. We can have batteries or backup batteries that comes in hand, that works as another. Then we have dedicated phones. This is what we're saying about station phones that have to work. That when we have the public phones nowadays in Kenya, they're not locally available, but maybe there's some of other places that have. Then we have the direct lines. These you get them in the older buildings that we had those. The telecommunicators, they used to give those lines or direct, or what you call the coded lines. Then we also have equipment that receive these are public or private fire alarm systems. We have some of these fire stations that are connected into such a way that they can, in case of, for example, the banks, most of these banks will have a direct line to the fire to most of these fire stations, and then they can be able to give that. We have computer aided is coming up very well when you look at it in what you call the CAD, the computer aided dispatch. This helps in real-time triangulations of the area, the exact locations, the directions. They can also give you the estimated time for the firefighters or the emergency service unit to reach on that. This helps the dispatcher to give a precise or a specific location. So these other equipments, we have other equipments that can be fire alarms. We can have the two-way radios. These systems that are most of them are found in the dispatch. We also have telephones or mobile phones that we have some units that use mobile phones. Like for my department, we use both what we call the landline and also a mobile phone. These are mobiles that are phone that you can be able to move out with. This is what we're talking about, the backups of generator, the backups when power goes, what comes in. Then we have the books. We have some of them, we have departments that use the old way, the books, to record everything that they do, what you call the daily occurrence book or the OB. We also have some other departments that they have integrated, and then they have gone to computerized, and then you see they can be able to locate or to log in information through the pads, the mobile phones, and then the computers. These are some of the things that we come across in the time. So this is a CAD or computer aided dispatch. It comprises of a lot of computers, some few laptops. That gives you a dial that gives you that else. Then advantages of it can be able to help you locate exactly. It can be able to pinpoint exact location. And it gives you an easy time to key in, because if we have some that can encrypt whatever the caller says. Some of them can be able to they have systems that are integrated, and they can be able to record what the caller says. It is recorded in the system for later use or later scrutiny. So the system, it gives you the tracking. This is what we're saying. It gives you an easy way to track the vehicles. It gives you an easy way to track the caller. And then these are systems that can be able to actually be actualized and be interconnected to different types of computers. Then we have the main computer that deals with that. We have a main server. We have all those that really help. Logs and voice records. This is what we're saying about this system can be able to record. It can be able to write. We have this system, the computers that you can narrate, and then it will be able to type in the information. So it gives a timestamp, because every information that is fed in a computer, it gives you the time it was fed in that computer. It gives the exactly date and exact time. It also can be used as an official document in every. For example, if you have a lawsuit or someone we want to learn, we can be able to use the same information as a learning place. So the records can be kept for a very long time. Remember, this system is big, so it has a long storage capacity. So it can be able to keep a lot of information. It can be able to keep this information in check. So reason for voice recorders and active runs, they defend the fire department against any actions. Or you can be able to use them as a training, or in demonstration of what the organization does. It gives an easy time to analyze, to inform this information about the department operations. Like we know we always face these times, the budget cuts, they come. And sometimes we face this, that we need the politicians or the big bosses comes and they want to know exactly what happened. So with this information, with this recorded or pre-recorded information, we can be able to give, like, we have attended to this fire, we have attended to drowning, we have attended to maybe body, we have attended to accidents. It gives you a record of time. So response and call response at dispatch. The thing is, in anything that happens, you remember when we used to say, like, we'll have the question, what exactly happens? What is the exact location? Then we always say we give location according to the main, what we call the main, we have a billboard, we have we have that buildings, we have this, and then determine which unit to send. As that alarm, as the fire, as the call is made, this will help the dispatcher or the unit to literally get which unit to get. Because if you want to send a body retrieval, you cannot be able to send the firefighters unless they're good in diving. And then if you have an accident, you send both the fire engine and an ambulance. So these are, we have standard standard protocols that varies from department to department on depending with availability of skills, availability of personnel. So the response always answer and get the information, the right information. That's where, who is involved, what is involved, the callback numbers for this for the caller, so that by the end, so that you can be able to also send the right unit in due time. So if you get most of these requests from mobile phones, for here we try to get to request for the callback number. This will also assist because our dispatch is a land. Most of the calls will come through the runtime, and you cannot be able to see who is calling. So you get to call to request the caller to give you their name and their number, so that if you send the fire engine, you can also be able to attach. You can be able to attach a sticky note for them. This is the number. This is the person who called, and so that they can be able to also communicate and guide them in time. So communication centers, we have these centers that these are the basic functions, or the functions that are performed inside there. They basically receive calls and dispatch the units. The actors are supporting and conducting units operations. These are guys who conduct, like, the unit is already on the scene. Maybe they want additional help. What do? They call back, and then they get the feedback. So they keep track of each unit. This is when, if an ambulance left the station, they need to, the dispatcher will keep on calling and knowing, like, have they arrived in the hospital? Have they arrived on the scene? And then it also helps in that row of everything else. Then if you have a computer-aided dispatch, you can be able to track down, and you can see the range. You can see what else? You can monitor the coverage. We have notification of different agencies. If the guys need help, then it will maintain the records, maintain information required from the dispatch. So while receiving the dispatch, and this is when you receive that call, and then you want to dispatch the emergency, these are the call. Call received, location is validation. This is where you ask. If, for example, in Kenya, we have names that are similar. And so you can if you don't actually get to know exactly location, you can send a unit to a different point or a different area than the area that is required. So then we have classification and prioritization. This is where you check which to send, who not to send. Then selection, then you let you send or you dispatch the units. So these are the most community use what you call the 911. If you go to school, you ask this kid, and they always tell you 911. So that's why I used in bracket. So this means every department has their own. In Kenya, most of the departments have their own numbers. So most of this will come through that. And then this is where we say determine the location of the emergency, and then determine the nature. This is where we say, is it fire? Is it water rescue? Is it an accident, or what we call the road traffic accidents? And then you can be about send. Private or automatic fire alarms. These mostly connect with these private farms, maybe banks, supermarkets, or what you call stores, warehouses. So we also have walk-ins. These are people who work in the fire department, and they give the information. Like, for example, there's a times we had a guy came with a bike, and then I told us there is a particular fire in around the CBD. They had not called, but the guy just saw the smoke and then rushed to the fire department or to our fire department and called us. So location validations is remember that when we were saying we need to be very careful with names and spellings, because we have these names in different cultures. That means different things, and they mean different. They have a very different meaning. If you write it on one culture, on a one base, they use two. That's why we say we need to be very careful in that. If you have a GPS technology, it also helps you to resolve the issues of misspelling, say some of these things. A classification of calls, mostly they're done using by or based on the nature of the call or the nature of the report that was given. This should be maybe water rescue, what you call. So this helps the dispatcher or the person in the control system to send the right truck. This could be, that's what we say, in an ambulance and the like. So unit selections determines which unit to be sent and the risk. So some vehicles have locators. We had one fire engine that had a GPRS that you'll be able to locate it, but now it's done. Most of these can be able to do that. So you can give them a pop-up message when you are dispatching the unit. This is where you tell them your page. We have the more advanced fire system or fire department. They use the pages. They have the siren, the horn, and the whistles. These are situated outside. These are inside the fire department that we have. Like I know, like for the if you have watched this movie, the Chicago fire, the 911, the station 19, you always hear the speakers or the siren. They raise the highland, then they can give you that information. So operation supports. This is why we say it requires, just the normal thing we say, it's the incident report. This is where we have to write them, let them get the keys and notifications. These are information that you give to fires. So I wanted us to also talk about the radio systems. This rings the communication center or the communication unit with individual units. So we have fire department that they already have the radio communication system. So they go to their communication authority. They're granted the license to use that. That is where they select channels to have their own communications. This can be used to between the firefighters themselves in the scene. They can also communicate to other departments or other fire departments that are on the same channels. So we have portable radios, the handheld, which you have we always have them. Then we have the mobile radios. These are powered by permanently mounted. We have the mobile radios, or the radios that are permanently mounted in the fire engines or in the vehicles. We have them. We can use them. So we have the base stations. These are inside the communication unit. These are the things that we use. Then we have the data terminals. We have some of these fire engines with tablets or with computers that are already, they are pre-installed in them so that you can be able to enter this. Remember what we were talking about, the CAD. Radio operations. The moment you inquire or you get a radio, your department will be given or will be dedicated if it will be given, or they select a channel that you, maybe channel 1, channel 2, channel 3, depending with that. We have other radios that can use dureps or more channels. So here it is. This is just a simple diagram to show you how these things work. We have the dispatch, we have the field unit. This is when we say we have these the radios that are mounted in the fire engines. We have the other one is the dispatch center. We have the remote repeaters. We have the boosters. Okay, in Kenya we call them boosters, and then we have the field unit. We have these other types of vehicles that can also act as remote repeater sites, because they have the areas and then they act both in a field unit and also in a booth to share the information. We have the frequency, we have the low bands, we have high, we have UHF, then we have trunk. These are just services. They're just like what we have in Kenya, like the Safaricom or the networks. Yep. Communication over long distance requires the repeaters. This is what we say. These are some of we have some vehicles that can act as a field unit both and also as a repeater. So that to get information sent to the another fire engine and then the final fire engine sends to the other. We have a very good example is the Red Cross unit. They have a lot of vehicles, and some of those vehicles are fitted with masts that also act as repeaters or links in different. So with new technologies that are coming up, those are some of the examples. These are some of the things that the technology is giving. It gives a very wide board or a very wide range of services. You can have it used as with different agencies. They use the same system, and then it allows radios to be interconnected. So we as firefighters, we must know how to use and operate a radio system or the radios as a fire department. We familiarize ourselves. We have this radio. It has the area or the mast. Then we have the volume, and then the channel mast, and then we have the mouthpiece here. This is what we have in. We use the press to talk. NFPA standard, or what you call the National Fire Protection Association, they recommend to use a plain English so that everyone on the channel can be able to understand. And then when you're communicating, let everything go through the IC so that they can have an idea of what, so that information moves from the IC to the down, and then from the junior officers or to the down to the other units, and then to the IC, so that the information, or these are some of, so that we can be able to keep track of everything, also every unit and what happens. We have urgent messages. You know, when we go to a site, maybe a building collapse, and then we have so very many agencies that are reporting. This is where the IC can be able to dedicate a particular channel that is only dedicated for urgent messages. So it can be able to go through even when the other channels are going are being used. So it can be able to bypass the other. It can be, and in short, it gets dominion over the other one. So then this is what we're saying about the radios have buttons. You remember the buttons so that you can imagine. You press twice and then we have another button that can do that. So reports or records and reports complete the report after each incident. This what it includes. Number one, where and when the incident occurred, exact location. Who was involved? Was it fire? What happened? Was it fire? Was it accident? Then if you can be able to tell how the fire started, the extent of damage, the whole building was damaged, just particular part of, and then we have injuries and fatalities. So most of this, we have some departments that use the analog or the books, but we also have departments that have what you call a computer aided dispatch. We have what you call, it's just it's an example that I took from the US, that the National Fire Incident Reporting Systems. This is where the US, if you go to any fire, they key in everything, every document, so that it can go through the system. So obtaining the necessary information, the primary source of information by standards, or what you call the eyewitnesses. Then you have the serial numbers. In Kenya, we take the number plates and all the registration numbers of different, if it's a motor vehicle accident. When we have other departments that have serialized or they have coded their response. For example, you have departments that gives maybe fire code. They give a different fire code, an accident, they give it a different fire code. So that can be able to work through that. So required or requirements, the codes are used to indicate incident type. This is what we're talking about, because it gives, now instead of writing road traffic accident, you can have a short form, maybe RTA or another different numbers. So consequences reports can be used as evidence. I don't know how many of we have these businesses that have insurance, and for them, they want to be paid maybe by the lighting companies or the business or the insurer. They want to be paid by the insurance company, and then it has to go through the legal way, that's the court. And then this information is very important, because whatever we did, it was already recorded. So it becomes easier for the fire department to give a precise report or an accurate report. Checking calls, it is always good to keep the communication line open and use the standard greetings. This is where we say answer the phone using the accepted ways, depending with or what you call according to your department, your fire department protocols. So be prompt, these are just examples. Be prompt, be polite, be professional, and concerned. Remember that this person or the emergency can come through any phone. We have, like for example, in our fire department, we have some of these calls that comes through individual mobile phones from they share. They have the member of public know about a particular firefighter who works in a site or in a fire station, and they call them directly. So an emergency call can come through any. And we are through with the lesson for today, unless we have questions. Thank you so much, Chief Mike. Can get it back to you now.
All righty. Thank you, Richard. We're going to open up the floor here. Let me make a few adjustments. If you've got Any questions? The floor is open. You can use the raise hand feature. You can use the chat to drop a question, or you can just unmute yourself and ask your question. Timmy, go
Uh,
ahead.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mike.
Go ahead.
I'm good. I just wondered, I was late in the Zoom. How can I get the information that was being taught to others when I was not in the Zoom?
These are all going to be posted. They premiere on YouTube at 8 a.m. Friday morning, East Africa time. You can also go to our webpage, www.africafiremission.org. Go to the resources tab, and under training materials, you'll find a Google Drive folder there where you can catch a recording of the training, answer a few questions, and receive a certificate of attendance.
Okay, say so. Thank you so much, sir.
Timmy, question.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for the session, Sir Richard. And I have a question. Basing it on the VHF and UHF, can we have an estimated distance where they can reach, maybe in meters? And also with regards to that, are we going to be having barriers? Maybe some VHF signals cannot pass beyond certain perimeter walls.
Yes, with the VHF, or this what you call the radios, they have ranges. We have some that goes through it depends with the strength that the fire department has paid for. We have that some that goes for a maximum of 8 kilometers, a radius of 8 kilometers. And we also have barriers that highlights building, valleys, and you have mountains, hills, just like the normal networks. They have that. Then we have another one from we have another radio that can transmit to about 2,000 kilometers. I saw one with the Red Cross. They use one that can transmit to between 2,500, not more than 2,500 kilometers, but also depends with the repeater system. So when you have a shorter range or you want a longer range, you do more transmitters or more repeater systems. So they have that range.
Just to add on a little bit to that, of course, if you're trying to choose a different radio, so there's all sorts of different radio systems. There's UHF, VHF, 800 megahertz. Here in the US, we use the P25 digital system. So there's all these different types of systems. The systems that you choose are the big determining factor of the system that you're gonna choose is what system is licensed for use where you're at. So, and maybe there's no licensing requirements. Here in the US, there's different licensing requirements. We've changed what bands we've used over the years because of those licensing requirements. When you're looking at UHF versus VHF, VHF frequencies work better over long open distances. So if you're trying to communicate in open space over a greater distance, the VHF is a more effective for that. But where VHF starts to go downhill is when you're in a densely populated areas and trying to penetrate through buildings and things like that. VHF isn't quite as good. So UHF is better for shorter distances, works better when you're in crowded environments, better penetration through buildings and things like that, but doesn't give you quite the distance. Like Richard was saying, talking about a system with repeaters, There's where you're looking at the difference between a simplex and a duplex system. So in a simplex system, you're using essentially radio to radio communication, whether that's from a base station radio that might be at your emergency operations center, and your simplex is directly to then the portable radio or to the unit, mobile unit with on your fire apparatus. A duplex system utilizes a repeater. So when you're using a repeated system like that, every time you transmit, you're transmitting it to one of the towers, okay, a tower location that's going to take that transmission that you sent and it's going to push it back out. And typically it's a duplex system, so you're actually transmitting and receiving on different frequencies, right? So in that duplex system, as long as you can reach the tower, you get good communication. So difference between simplex, duplex, and then VHF versus UHF. Just to add a little extra info there. There's a question in the chat. If there's one control room operator in the control room and you've got two emergency calls that come in, what does the person do? What do you do first? What does that look like?
So I'll give an example with what we do here. What we do, we have three operations, fire stations that are operating across the county or across the neighborhood. So this is what we do. If it is close to the next or closer to one of the fire department, we have to send that to the fire department. And the other thing, if the two calls comes concurrently, then we do exactly the same. We call the first call, we give the priority to the first call. Then if the fire engine leaves, then we send the next fire engine that is available. Then we have my fire department or my fire station, we have two fire engines that are functional. So we can be able to send the two fire engines. So
just like
with the
any other
system that we
situation.
have,
Yeah, go ahead, Richard.
with the systems that we have, they give these the first come first serve priorities. That is the system that we're trying, but we're also trying to integrate with we are also trying to build a modern EOC that can be able to give us all those. And then you need to ask the caller about what happened. You remember what we need to know exactly what happened so that we can be able to know exactly which unit sent. So yeah.
Just going to add on to that, the the call taker doesn't have to spend a whole lot of time on those calls. If you're receiving two calls at the same time, you can gather the information, gather your basic information to get your unit started. This is obviously if you only have one telecommunicator or one dispatcher. Gather the information to get the units responding to the first call. You can place them on hold, answer your second call, and take down that information. Prepare to do your secondary dispatch, just like any type of a medical emergency or anything like that, too. You're obviously going to triage those calls somehow. So, if the first call that comes in is a rubbish fire, and the second call that comes in is a residential home fire, obviously you're not going to address those on that first come first served basis. You're going to use you know you're going to go to which one has more priority based on the preferably written policy of the department, or if not that, based on personal knowledge and experience that helps you with that triage process. Other questions or comments as it relates to today's class? Floor is open. You can use the raise hand feature. You can put a comment in the chat, or just go ahead and unmute yourself and ask your question.
Chief Mike,
Yes, sir.
Richard,
Hello,
Richie,
yes, sir. Hey, boss.
vipi?
Vipi sana mkuu?
Good. Now, also, I think we need to encourage members. They should tell us what kind of system do they use. Members, you can feel free to unmute and share what kind of system do you use in your department or in your agency or where you are. Is it the same one that you've presented or is it a different one? So we can go ahead and share what you have in relation to asking a question and comment and giving a comment.
Someone in the chat's using base radios on a VHF system.
Uh-huh.
Go ahead, Timmy.
So again, I have another question, and I would like also to showcase a video to
Okay.
show myself. I have this one. So these two are from this type of radio, and I wanted to
Okay.
know the difference because they are connected at the same port with the antenna. I don't know if you're
Uh-huh.
able to see.
Let me see that radio one more time.
Here's the
Radio.
radio.
Ah, hey, that radio right there, if you guys look at that particular brand, that particular radio is pretty readily available on the internet. Relatively speaking, compared to other radios, it's very inexpensive. My previous department used some of those for non-emergency type um, calls, where you didn't need to take them into a hazardous environment. If you're looking to get a start on the radios, boy, those are a great option. They're easily programmable. There's free software that you can get online, that you can and get a programming cord, relatively speaking, low priced. Those radios about 30 US dollars, compared to the radios that we use on our digital radio system that are 5,000 US dollars a piece. Great radio. To your specific question there, of the difference in those antennas that you had. The short one they call like a rubber duck. Sometimes they're both the similar antennas. Um, the way that you get the best function out of your radio is that the antenna is matched to the frequency that you're operating on. Um, so if you're using, so VHF and UHF is talking about the size of the wavelength that it transmits and receives on. So it's the size of that radio wave as it goes out through the air. The antennas should be a in a specific proportion to that wavelength. And when you have that antenna in the appropriate proportion to that length of that wave, that's where you get the highest efficiency. Um, like on our mobile radios, when we were using VHF radios, we would use like a quarter wave antenna. So the length of that antenna was 25% of the size of the actual wavelength that goes out into the air. There's all sorts of resources that you can find to help you match antenna size to frequency and things like that. Of those two antennas that you've got there, Timmy, the short little stubby one, those are just they won't function as well as the regular sized antenna, which won't function as well as you could get a quarter wave antenna. You could get a large antenna that you would put, outside and run a cable into that little portable radio, that handheld radio, and you could get even better range and things like that out of it. So it's just a matter of what antenna length is usable in your situation. So, if you're carrying like a VHF radio, if you're carrying that VHF radio in a front pocket on your turnout coat, and uh, and that antenna is really long, it's going to be hitting you in the face. It's going to be getting tangled on things. So there's a situation where you might want to use a stubby antenna, depending on how you're carrying it. But if you're using that stubby antenna, you won't get the full range out of the radio. So there's a bunch of different factors from convenience to the efficiency of the antenna as you're choosing which one you want to use. Another just sort of word of caution with the radio, you don't want to transmit on the radio without an antenna attached to it. You need to have that antenna attached to it for the radio waves when you hit that transmit to uh, to to leave the radio, right? So without an antenna, you could damage a radio transmitting with no antenna attached.
Do such kind of radios get jammed whenever they get into a situation where there are high radios which are have a stronger frequency than it?
The frequency that you're on sort of determines the couple things determine the efficiency of it. The wattage of the radio, so how many watts. So like on a VHF mobile radio, we could buy those up to like 110 watts, very powerful. The radio that Timmy had there in his hand was probably a 5-watt portable radio. So the efficiency of the radio is based on a function of the wattage of the radio, the antenna that it's attached to, the terrain or topography of the area where they're at, as well as any obstructions that may be in the way. So there's all sorts of factors to determine how well that radio is going to work. If you're inside a masonry, stone constructed building with a metal roof and metal siding on it, you're in that that's a sort of like a cage that's going to hold those radio waves in, so that won't be as effective as if you're outstanding in a flat area where you can see for 5 kilometers into the distance. The radio is going to reach a lot further because those radio waves are going to be able to travel uninterrupted. We've got time for maybe one last question in the formal part of our training, but as we transition into tea time, obviously, we can carry on the discussion. But any other questions yet before we wrap up the formal portion of our training? I thought I saw someone with a hand raised there.
Wellington.
Yeah. Wellington, did you have a
Okay,
question?
good evening, Mr. Mike.
Yes, sir.
Good evening.
Okay, it's just in addition on what Chief Mike was saying. Like, I've noticed that when one is transmitting the message, the first maybe the first message or the first words, we are not able to hear it clearly because some people, whenever they want to transmit push to talk, they quickly speak out before pressing that push to talk thing. So at the end of the day now, we'll be having a difficult to understand what is the earlier message, what is the person trying to explain, or what is trying to tell to us. That is the other challenge we are facing.
Yes. Great point. Um, just, in that, how do you use the radio? Right? You know, we want to keep the microphone about a fist distance away from your mouth. So you don't want your mouth touching that microphone. You don't want it too far away. So they say if you make a fist and then hold that right there next to hold it a fist width away. You want to press the transmit button, pause for a second or two, and then begin your message so that you're not clipping the front end of that message. The same thing after you finish your transmission, wait an extra second or two before you release the transmit key so that you get that whole message relayed. Great point. We'll carry on our discussion here in the tea time, but we're up against our time clock here. So let me just wrap up today's training. The big thank you to Richard for sharing and leading today's class, getting to talk a little bit about the different ways we can communicate and what's working in you guys' communities. Appreciate all of you also joining us for today's training, taking time out of your schedules, using your bundles and your own money to get here and be a part of this. It's a great thing. We don't take that for granted at all. If you know of someone that may benefit from this training, invite them to sit next to you next week. Send them the registration link. Feel free to share. We have plenty of seats available here in the classroom. So please feel free to share that to anybody that you think may benefit from this training. That's all we're going to do for today. Stick around for tea time if you're available. Otherwise, we'll see you all again next week. Thank you, everyone.